Welcome to Proven and Probable. I'm your host, Maurice Jackson. Joining us for a conversation is Dan Weir. He is the executive chairman of DNI Metals, which is establishing itself to become one of the world's leading graphite producers. Mr. Weir, welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, Maurice, and greetings from Madagascar.
Glad to have you back on the program. We brought you on today to provide us with an update on a number of important topics for current and prospective shareholders. But before we delve into today's interview, for first-time listeners, who is DNI Metals and what is the thesis you're attempting to prove?
So DNI Metals is a public company. It's been around for about 35 years. DNI had a number of different projects. It first started out as a nickel company. It used to be called Dumont Nickel Incorporated, and it was now shortened to DNI Metals. And it had, at one point in time, a gold asset in Utah. We still own a royalty on that gold asset. And then the previous management was focusing on a very large polymetallic deposit up in Alberta, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later. When I took over in late 2014, we decided to focus the company on graphite in Madagascar. And that, I just want to make sure that everybody understands, that is our focus, and that's what we're doing is working on getting our projects in Madagascar into production. That is my main focus, Maurice, and we'll continue to do that.
You know, speaking of Madagascar, in our last interview, you referenced your commitment to getting the environmental permit and a proposed timeline. Sir, what can you share with us regarding the environmental permit?
What I've tried to do over the last 2 months is put out press releases to the market and discuss how we've been moving forward with the environmental permits. One of our press releases in October, we mentioned that we had terminated our previous team. We brought a whole new team in to complete the work. I've been spending a lot of time in Madagascar to make sure that that is all happening. And you can see from a lot of our press releases, we have been making great headway. You know, some of the documents weren't filed properly with the government agency, the environmental agency called the ONE, or the one, and we've gotten those filed. We have to do 2 site visits, a technical site visit and then a public consultation visit. On December the 5th and 6th, when I was here, we did the technical visits. They went very well. And in mid-January, we will do the public consultations. 3 public consultations, 1 for the district, and then 1 for each project. 1 for Marafody, 1 for Vohitsara. And then after that, we will have completed everything that we needed to do to get the permit. So I'm very excited that we've been moving forward very quickly here since I've taken charge. So it's been great, Maurice.
You know, speaking of the Vohitsara, can you provide us with an update on the resource estimate?
Yes, so we have hired a company in Toronto called Micon. They're known around the world for their expertise in resource studies. The first week in January, so I am actually leaving Madagascar tonight, heading home. Our annual meeting is on the 20th. I will be home for a couple of weeks at Christmas, and then I'll be back here in Madagascar the first week of January. Micon, one of their people will be coming here as well to see the deposit, do a site review. We believe that we can have the maiden resource for the Vohitsara property done sometime late January, early February is when we should be able to have that done. So I'm very excited about that as well. Right, actually, and by the way, Maurice, right about the same time as we're getting the environmental permits. So very exciting times coming.
Indeed it is. Moving on to Canada. Dan, you referenced the Alberta Black Shales Deposit. It's been overshadowed with your projects in Madagascar. Tell us a little bit more about this deposit and why is the market getting specifically excited about the deposit there?
We had put the project on hold, or really a non-core asset. Previous management spent over $6.7 million. There are 6 outcroppings or 6 mineralized zones that we know of, stretching well over 30 to 50 kilometers, right near the tar sands or the oil sands in northern Alberta in Canada. It's what they call a polymetallic, so there's all sorts of different minerals in here: rare earths, uranium, cobalt, nickel, zinc. But what's been really exciting lately is the fact that it has a lot of vanadium in it, and cobalt and lithium. And we know as we move forward with battery metals, those are key components, as well as the graphite being a key component of a lithium-ion battery. So we're very excited about all of that. We've had a number of people come to us who are interested in doing something with that project. Again, I want to emphasize this, that we're focused on graphite. We will continue to focus on graphite, but we have done a great deal where a group is going to earn into our property in Alberta. They're going to pay us a cash component. They will spend a minimum of $1 million to earn into 50% of the project. At that point in time, DNI will have 49% of the project, and we will have a carried interest to a full bankable feasibility study. So, in essence, another group is going to manage the project. They will do all the work on the project. I will help, but really it won't take up any of my time, and it allows me to focus on Madagascar and the graphite, but it allows DNI to have a 49% interest in a very big vanadium, cobalt, lithium, rare earth type deposit that has some potential. So we're very excited. Again, we get a carried interest all the way to the bankable feasibility study, and at that point in time, we can decide whether or not we want to put up the capital to build the processing plant or get diluted down to a 2% royalty. We'll see at that point in time.
You know, Dan, before we leave the deposit there, I want to discuss vanadium a little bit more in detail here. Most investors know very little about the metal, but can you share with us where the demand will be coming from regarding vanadium?
So maybe many investors have heard about a vanadium redox battery. It's very different from a lithium-ion battery. Vanadium redox tend to be used for very, very large storage of energy. So if you had a wind farm or if you had a solar farm and you wanted to store the energy, a vanadium redox battery would be a very good battery for that. It's not a good battery to use in a car, a cell phone, or your laptop. That's where a lithium-ion battery has its use. These are big stationary type batteries. But what's really driven the price in vanadium lately, and remember, when we did the feasibility studies on the Alberta property, vanadium was at around $5.80. It's now well over $22 a pound, so it's gone up huge. Most of that reason is that China has just put in new laws where all the rebar, and for people that don't know what rebar is used to strengthen concrete. What China has mandated that a higher percentage of the rebar has to have vanadium in it for 2 reasons. Strengthens the rebar, also helps in the corrosion factors of the rebar. So that's very exciting. Demand is going through the roof for vanadium, and again, it's all about supply and demand, and the prices have gone way up as well.
Switching gears, Dan, DNI will be conducting a financing. Can you share the details with us?
Yes, so as we complete our environmental licenses or permits, and as we move forward on the resource study. Our ultimate goal is once we had completed those, that we would do a much larger financing to build the pilot plant, buy the machinery needed, and by machinery I mean the bulldozers and excavators and things. But in the meantime, you will see also from our press release, we're negotiating with some of the locals to buy some of their lands. It'll actually likely be more of a 99-year lease, which we can renew for another 99 years. Again, we're negotiating all of that. To have some money in the bank right now to be able to use when I'm negotiating will help us. So it's nice right now to have some money in the bank. Lets me continue my work, what I need to do here in Madagascar, and sets us up for the next financing. Hopefully, in and around sometime in February or March. That'll be the time when we want to do a much larger financing to build everything. So we decided to come up with a convertible debenture where investors who buy the debenture, if they hold on to the debenture for 1 year, there's a 1-year term on the debenture, we'll pay them a 12% coupon. At that point in time, you can convert the debenture into stock. At 8 cents, you get a unit on the conversion, and all the details are in our press release. Or you can take the cash, your choice, at the end of 1 year. So this is really a short-term type loan to the company as we develop some of the things we need to do over the coming months.
Dan, to summarize what we've covered today, what is the next unanswered question for DNI Metals? When should we expect results, and what determines success?
As you've seen from a lot of our emails recently, I have really tried to be open to the market and give exact details of what we're doing and how we're doing things for the environmental licenses, for the resource report, and now for potentially developing some of the Alberta projects. So there's not a lot else out here right now, Maurice, that I that hasn't been made public. Bear with me. We're working our butts off to get things done in Madagascar here. I'm staying on top of it and moving it all forward.
And just as a side correction here, you referenced emails, and I know you meant to say press releases. Last question here.
Yes, I apologize. Sorry about that.
That's fine, sir. Last question. What did I forget to ask?
No, I don't think you forgot to ask anything. Maurice, you've been to the property twice. You've seen how exciting it is. I'm really pushing to make sure that we get this into production and get there as soon as possible. And that's my mandate, and that's what I'm doing.
Dan, for someone listening that wants to get more information regarding DNI Metals, please share the contact details.
The best thing to do is email me because I will be going back and forth between Toronto and Madagascar. It's Dan Weir at DNImetals.com. That's Dan Weir at DNImetals.com.
And sir, please share the website.
Yes, it's www.dnimetals.com.
And as a reminder, DNI Metals trades on the CSE symbol DNI and on the OTC symbol DMNKF. DNI Metals is a sponsor of Proven and Probable, and we are proud shareholders for the virtues conveyed in today's interview. And last but not least, please visit our website, provenandprobable.com, where we interview the most respected names in the natural resource space. You may reach us at contact@provenandprobable.com. Dan Weir of DNI Metals, thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable.
Thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable. Remember to like and subscribe for more conversations with the most respected names in the natural resource space. Check out our website at www.provenandprobable.com. The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.